Welcome to Creature Guide Live Daily News. For those of you that don't know, my name is Ethan. Today we are going over a news story going on with some lemurs, as well as a new species of long necked sauropod and a wildlife sighting over in Ontario. We're streaming on both Rumble, YouTube, and Kick. From ElliottLakeToday.com, cross country skier describes magical elk sighting in northern Ontario. That is nearly unheard of when it comes to the province of Ontario over in Canada, considering elk are extremely rare in the province. There's only, I think, somewhere between 800 to 1,000 elk in the whole province. And we're talking about an area pushing over 290,000 square miles, or pushing well over uh, 480,000 square kilometers. Nancy Cote-Ferrand's photos of an elk at Kyvie Park has been widely celebrated on social media, receiving hundreds of comments and shares on social media. I guess for a bull in the winter, I mean, he looks pretty healthy. Yeah, he's just hanging out in the region. An elk cross country skier, so saw it at Kyvie Park. There are only two photos. Anything else occur? So, a rare run in with an elk at Kyvie Park in Sudbury has spurred a great deal of interest in local wildlife at the recreational amenity, with resulting elk photos getting hundreds of reactions on social media. It was a magical experience encountering the elk, Nancy Cotefaran told Sudbury.com. Although she has been visiting the park regularly since around the time it first opened approximately 10 years ago, this is her first time seeing an elk. It was quite the experience, she said, adding that she has become known at the park in recent weeks as the lady who saw the elk. like, like an ancient legend.
The lady who saw the elk.
There have been 3 elk sightings reported at Kyvie Park in recent weeks. Park Community Partnerships Coordinator Otto Mackay told Sudbury.com. It's quite rare, she said, adding that prior to the 3 recent sightings, there hadn't been any. Cote Ferran was cross country skiing after work on January 15th when she looked up to see an elk in front of her blocking the trail. The two immediately engaged in a staring contest. We were just looking at each other, and I didn't know what to do at first. It was such a beautiful animal, and the colors and the night, and it was a very crisp night.
She wasn't thinking about lunch, was she?
Oh yeah, elk, stew. The encounter with a male elk, only males have antlers, took place along a 10-kilometer trail near the back of the park, which was mostly empty at the time, with only 3 vehicles in the parking lot. After snapping a few photos of the elk, Cote Ferran said the sun was setting and she knew she had to get back at the parking lot soon or be left skiing into the falling darkness. When I took the steps, the elk just turned around in the opposite direction and started running in the opposite direction along the trail, adding that this in itself was also an impressive sight. The elk continued along the trail for approximately 250 meters before veering left toward Forest Lake. I'm not sure if he went to tell his friends he saw me, Cotifron said with a chuckle. Among the hundreds of comments to Cote Ferran's photos posted on the Kyvie Park Facebook page was a photo of another male elk. His antlers are slightly different from those sported by the animal Cote Ferrand, also taken at the park in mid-January. The elk was posted by Lance Collins, who said this was also his first encounter with an elk at the park. Wow, yeah, that's a really good picture. Seems like a healthy bull also for the winter as well. Obviously, he seems to have lost a little bit of weight, but that's to be expected. But everything else, it really looks like a true winter wonderland.
Why is he looking at the camera like, why are you photographing me?
Um, yeah, I guess on the bright side, I don't think there, well, at least for the population at the moment, there are really any wolves to take down the animals. There are coyotes in the region. They will go after the calves, but shortly into their growth, they'll just simply be too large. And cougars are pretty rare in Ontario. I've talked to other people and they've seen them as well, but you see them once, maybe, and that's it. Although his first elk, Collins said he has seen other wildlife at Kyvie Park, including a recent bald eagle and two barred owls calling back and forth to each other. It's kind of exciting, really, for us to see owls calling from the trees. We've never seen moose here or there, but I know there are moose out in this area. I've seen them crossing the road
Why did the moose cross the road?
for carrots. Just a few months before her elk encounter, Cote Ferran said she was hiking a section of trail closer to the parking lot with a friend when a mother bear crossed in front of them, trailed by two older cubs. Likely just a black bear. There are polar bears in the northern regions of Ontario because there's a massive polar bear provincial park that or just on the southern tip of Hudson Bay, which corresponds with other polar bear populations further northwest as well as even towards the east. There aren't any brown bears over in Ontario, and I don't believe there are any historically either. There are in adjacent Manitoba towards the west. The local elk sightings are uncommon, but not unheard of in the region, with elk long being reintroduced to the area, including in the Burwash area, approximately 20 kilometers south of Sudbury. In the late 1800s, native elk were made regionally extinct in Ontario due to unregulated hunting and habitat loss. From 1998 to 2001, we worked with local and provincial partners to reintroduce elk to four separate locations across this province. These locations include Bancroft North Hastings, Nipissing, French River, Lake Huron, North Shore, and Lake of the Woods. And 443 elk total were released between the four of them. Prior efforts throughout the 20th century also saw elk reintroduced to Ontario, with the province's 1998 to 2001 additions complementing two existing herds in the greater Sudbury area, which was a combined 36 to 55 elk strong by the late 1990s. Mackay said that it's exciting to see the herd extend north into Sudbury's Long Lake area and into Kyvie Park, and that she believes this is a sign that they're finally beginning to thrive in the region. Her advice for people who witness elk is to keep their distance, don't turn your back on them. Um, yeah, well, that's good to see that the elk are making an appearance over in this specific skiing area over in Ontario. Aren't really any. There are large hills over in Ontario, not necessarily mountains, but there are like over 30 different skiing areas over in the province. So let's head back in time to um, sometime, I'm guessing, in the Mesozoic era or the time of the dinosaurs. So, paleontologists and from Sci News, paleontologists unveil new species of sauropod dinosaur. Fossilized remains found in Patagonia, Argentina back in 2009 represent a new genus and species of plant eating dinosaur that belonged to a group called Rebeccasauridae. This is definitely your a very typical looking species of Rebeccasaur titanosaur. So these long-necked dinosaurs were quite common throughout different parts of Africa and South America during the Cretaceous period. First evolving somewhere around 140 to 150 million years ago. So certain species also existing back during the late Jurassic period. But for the most part, these animals were not too large when it came to sauropod dinosaurs. Rebeccasaurids rarely reached a little over 12 tons. That was a very large species of Rebeccasaur. And probably didn't reach a length of more than 45 feet or pushing up to 14 meters. However, these animals were likely feeding on over 400 pounds of food each day, or a little over 180 kilograms. Likely feeding on different species of conifer trees, ferns, and some of their earliest species of flowers to exist. So, the newly discovered dinosaur species lived in Patagonia between 99 to 96 million years ago. Dubbed Campanian fragilissimus, the ancient plant eater was an early member of Rebeccasauridae, a group of diplodocoid sauropods that diversified primarily on the supercontinent Gondwana between the early and late Cretaceous. Rebeccasauridae is recovered as the basal most group of Diplodocodidae. So this would consist of the different species of Diplodocids, such as Diplodocus itself. as well as even like the Nigerosaurus. So said Dr. Lucas Larzo, a paleontologist with the Fundación Azara Universidad Memonides and CONICET and his colleagues. So, although the inferred origin of diplodocoid sauropods is in the late to lower to early middle Jurassic, it is not until the lower Cretaceous that Rebecca-saurid sauropods appear in the fossil record, with a peak of diversity at the end of the history of the family in the early Upper Cretaceous. Yeah, so I mixed these guys up with another group of sauropods from the um, Titanosaur group. The Diplodocids are a completely different lineage of sauropods. So when it's referring to the more early Jurassic, this is somewhere around 175 to 180 million years ago that these sauropods first evolved. But let's look up another species. However, this is a member of Titanosauridae. So Puertosaurus, Puertasaurus. So this animal lived much later into the Mesozoic, or somewhere around 69 million years ago, and also over in Argentina. But this was a much larger species of sauropod, and this creature could reach well over 90 feet in length. Actually, somewhere between 90 to 100 feet in length. They're pushing around 30 meters and probably weighed somewhere around 50 to 60 tons, and likely lived in small groups, like somewhere around 20 to 30 individuals. Um, Wow. Well, this actually isn't a bad reconstruction. I think his core might be a bit small, but for the overall size of the animal, it's really not bad. I think the Puertosaurus is a more slender built species of Titanosaur sauropod. And so this probably matches pretty well. It is interesting. It also has a bit of an almost like brachiosaur appearance to it, even though it's quite distantly related to the Brachiosauridae lineage of sauropods. So, this animal would have coexisted with different species of abelisaurids, such as Carnotaurus, back at the end of the Cretaceous period, as well as different species of megaraptors.
There
However,
there's a DeviantArt one.
oh yeah, well, yeah,
What did
they
they
had
do
it.
to it?
Yeah, extremely large osteoderms to the side, making it almost like a sort of nodosaur titanosaur. The nodosaurs were a group of armored dinosaurs that existed from the late Jurassic period up until the end of the Cretaceous. They definitely gave a lot more muscle to the neck of this individual, which can be quite typical for many reconstructions of different species of titanosaurs. What is interesting is that he did not add any extra osteoderms like right to the back of the cervical vertebrae or the neck vertebrae, as well as the back and tail vertebrae as well, which is fine. We don't really have any evidence for Partosaurus having this type of accumulation of osteoderms over on this part of the body. The spikes likely did not occur. So this seems to be a bit of an older model. They're almost giving it. Oh, okay. They're comparing it. Wait a second. Are they comparing it with a little pterosaur, a Nyctosaurus? That's interesting. Yeah, certain species of flying pterosaurs did have the word "saurus" in their name, despite them and not being true dinosaurs.
This kinda looks like a lizard mix.
Um, yeah, it does. I think one of the other Puertosaurs had that type of a look. I've also seen this on certain other reconstructions. I still think it looks good. The Puertosaurs likely were having to take in well over 2 tons of food each day to just to simply survive. So, also consisting of different species of conifers, araucaria trees, and ferns, possibly wetland plants that might have been more of a specific type of diet for other species of sauropods. But many species of sauropods tend to constitute of similar shaped teeth. They're likely feeding on just simply different species of conifer trees, just maybe slightly different species. What was the other thing? Oh, let's head
Don't
back to
ask
the
me
article.
that.
Head back to the article. So, Rebecca Sordi is characterized by a highly pneumatized skeleton, which deeply invades the axial skeleton and the pelvic girdle. They present novel features in the dorsal vertebrae not reported in any other sauropod. The postcranial remains of Campanian fragilis fragilis simus were collected in 2009 from the Candeleros Formation in Barda Atravesada de las Campanas, Neuquén Province, Argentina. They were found along with the fossils of small theropod and Rebecca dinosaurs, a turtle, and a lizard. This is very common to find with different species of dinosaurs where smaller, unidentified dinosaurs have been found alongside them, as well as like certain specimens of reptiles, amphibians, sometimes even fish if they're adjacent to a riverbed or maybe even a marine deposit. Doesn't sound like it's adjacent to any marine areas. It's probably just more of a semi aquatic turtle. The team's analysis showed that Campanian fragilisimus is closely related to Zapalosaurus and Siderosaura, and so these are two other different species of Rebeccasaurids. And a specimen from the La Amarga Formation. The new Rebecasaurid is recovered as a sister taxon of Siderosaurae due to the presence of Prochyllus posterior caudal vertebrae and dorsoventrally flattened posterior caudal centra. I've got to go over these specific bones. So, Campanian fragilisimus presents an extreme pneumatization of the sacral region with an ontopomorphic dorsal alar arm of the sacral transverse processes. Finally, the phylogenetic analysis supports a South American origin for Rebeccasauridae. I would expect that, considering many species of Rebeccasaurids, a larger percentage are found in South America, a little less so for in areas like Africa, and an early diversification to Africa and Europe by the Borromean Aptian, as previously suggested. So, this is during another part in the early Cretaceous. So, this is good to see that we found another species of Rebecasaurid over in the region. These are a very interesting group of smaller diplodocids. What is interesting about this specific species is that, I guess, like many of the larger diplodocids, they did add those specific osteoderms along basically the entire body. There does seem to be on different species of diplodocids in which we have found the skin of that there is evidence for these osteoderms occurring along their entire body, but just only along where the top of the vertebrae would be. Okay, well, it's good to see. Let's head forward in time. So the cooldown.com, baby elephant swept from family by swollen rivers, reunited after rescuers used fresh dung trick. The virtues were cautious at first, then welcomed him home. I wonder if this was due to the massive floods that occurred over in South Africa a few months back. Like around the same time, I think certain floods were occurring over in Italy. Interesting. This doesn't look like. I mean, it could be South Africa. More of some of the more hilly areas or mountainous regions, like against Lesotho. But it could also be possibly certain areas in Tanzania. Well, he seems okay. Seems newly born as well. In an incredible rescue effort, a 2-month-old elephant calf, well, he's pretty young, that was separated from its family was reunited with the herd. The rescue depended on quick action, careful coordination, and one surprisingly effective trick, a coating of fresh dung. In an Instagram reel, conservation group Save the Elephants shared the story of a baby elephant that got separated from its family, the virtues during a crossing of the swollen Ewaso Nairo River near Larson's in Kenya. Okay, so we are over in I'm guessing southern Kenya. So probably adjacent to Tsavo East or Tsavo West National Park. Reuniting lost calves with their families in the wild is delicate and challenging work, and when it succeeds, it's magic. So, let's see what else occurred. So, according to the organization, tourists spotted the calf alone and alerted rescuers. The response became a joint effort involving. Oh, should we do this?
No, I didn't mean to do that.
Oh. A joint effort involving the Save the Elephants team, the Lua Wildlife Conservancy, and rangers from Samburu National Reserve. Yeah, I think Tsavo East, Tsavo West is a bit more flat and not as hilly. Rescuers caught the calf and carried it into a Land Cruiser before transporting it to Buffalo Springs, where they tried to reunite it with its family. The group said the male had been apart from the herd for more than 3 hours. That's a long time. A long and risky separation for such a young elephant. To help the family recognize the calf, rescuers used fresh elephant dung to mask unfamiliar scents. In the video, the calf was released into an open landscape and the herd accepted it. I guess, yeah, it worked. The virtues were cautious at first and welcomed him home. He was even seen nuzzling his mother and playing with the other calves. For a baby elephant, separation from the herd can quickly become life threatening. Yeah, I mean, I was guessing this elephant calf was separated for a much longer period of time. So that's good to hear. It was just 3 hours. I mean, he is still going to be slightly dehydrated and malnourished. The rescue's success highlights how much community awareness matters. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, it's good to see. Should we see what occurred on video? Wow. Yeah, it's taking several guys to lift him up. I think they tranquilized him. Well, is it one of the Tsavo parks?
Doesn't look tranquilized. He's not even wobbling.
I wonder if he was just exhausted.
Then they rub him down with poop.
Yeah, that helped. Yeah, they're all sniffing for the calf.
He's having to direct it over. This way. No, this way.
Yeah, that tends to have to occur with a lot of I guess returns when it comes to rescuing elephant calves. Wow, yeah, and the whole herd in almost like single file motion heads over. Very civilized. Yeah, there it is.
Okay. Who let this thing out? Sniff it. Ah, it's not yours. I can tell you from a mile away.
Well, they can probably tell from a much larger distance, like over 12 miles, maybe even further. Yeah, that was really good to see. Okay, let's head over to another part of the world. So, from the NewYorkPost.com, critically endangered lemur gives birth to rare set of triplets at Georgia Zoo. We hope the numbers keep growing. Well, what species of lemur is this?
Is she exhausted?
I would assume so. Cuteness times 3. An endangered red ruffed lemur gave birth to an adorable set of triplets, Red, Marjorie, and Taylor, at the Wild Adventures theme park in Georgia on April 25th. Parents Val and Doug are doing great, Kelly Uphold, the lead primate keeper, told the Post. That's that's just funny when it comes to their names. Their family just keeps growing. They already had 4 children, including another set of triplets.
Oh, God.
Well, I mean, it's good to see. I mean, here's the thing. Red ruffed lemurs are not very common. They're only constituted to a very small sliver of northeastern Madagascar. And these animals are somewhere around 12 to 20 pounds or a little over 8 kilograms. They mostly feed on nectar and as well as pollen and certain species of fruit, especially figs. They also create around 12 distinct types of communication. And I believe they can also communicate. Like there's different species of lemur in Madagascar that can communicate with specific other species of lemur. So in this case, with the red ruffed lemur, This animal can communicate with the black and white ruffed lemur over in Madagascar. And yes, they do coexist with the predatory fossa in the region, considering the fossas roam different regions of the very edges or forests of the, I guess, surrounding regions of the island of Madagascar. So Marjorie is the couple's first girl, so Uphold took extra care naming her. I'm a Taylor Swift fan, so I went with her grandmother's name. This tiny trio's arrival marks a big win for conservation efforts, as red ruffed lemurs are listed as critically endangered by the International Union for Conservation Nature's Red List. Experts estimate that fewer than 10,000 remain in the wild, and the species is found only in the rainforests of southeastern Madagascar. Am I confusing that with another species? I hmm, that's interesting. I swear it was in the northeastern region. I'll have to double check on that. Um, yeah, issues with the forests in Madagascar. Yeah, hasn't really changed. Uphold said she hopes the new arrivals will help shine a spotlight on conservation and inspire visitors to learn more about protecting the species she's helping to breed. These look like clay characters.
I just thought they looked stuffed.
Well, that too. In the meantime, the precious newcomers are already thriving. They're wonderful, gentle animals, but they're extremely loud. They screech and call out to each other in lots of different voices. And the lemurs use 12 different vocal calls to communicate everything from danger warnings to excitement. And sometimes they're just checking in with one another across the trees. Also, I believe they keep their young at least 60 to 66 feet above the floor or the forest floor. So, somewhere around 18 to 20 meters. They've been dubbed the chatterboxes of the forest. The playful primates love grooming one another, lounging in the sun, and springing from branch to branch with ease. Their long, bushy tails help them balance high in the trees while they search for food among the branches. It also differs depending on the species. Just being a bit repetitive here. Yeah, living for about 20, 25 years. I don't know, maybe in captivity. I'm not sure about in the wild, though. I'm guessing with lemurs, it's very likely. Um, I think when it comes to 7 to 9 pounds, it might be when it comes to the females, because I believe the males it become larger. So, thanks for joining. And for Prehistoric to Present, my name is Ethan. This is Creature Guy Live Daily News. We are streaming on both Rumble, YouTube, and Kick. And remember that nothing is better than all animals, all